There we go.
Hey, Josh, what's up, man? Can you hear me?
There we go. Yes, sir. What's going on
Okay,
with
there we go. I couldn't hear anything at all.
you? Man, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. First of all, man, blessings, King. Are we waiting on Hannah, or is just me and you right now?
I thought Hannah was supposed to be joining, and yeah, she said she was joining.
Okay. Yeah. Let me hit her.
All right. Yeah, she's here. Just said she just joined.
Okay. Let me uh let me make sure I get on too. There we
Hi
go.
guys.
Hey, Hannah, what's up?
Hey y'all. So good to see you all. My bad. I'm trying to get myself together. My bad.
All good.
How y'all brothers doing?
Man, it's been a good night. It's been a really good night.
Okay. It's been one heck of a night and there's so much to talk about and unpack. And so just wanted to touch base
Hold on,
too.
hold on. Let me see if I can add Miss Juicy on here too.
It's
Okay.
juicy, baby.
Uh, See if we can get this right. See if she'll jump on.
Okay. Miss
Miss Juicy, baby.
There we go.
Hey guys, can y'all hear
Hey.
What's going
me?
on?
Yes. Hey, Queen and Kings.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
now we got it. We got everybody on. Um, First and foremost, Hannah and obviously Attorney Griggs. I just want to be the first to again give y'all your roses because y'all continue to do so much in the community. Just so many amazing things. So if you want to start us off, please let us know the amazing news that you all was able to,
Josh,
to get tonight. Yes.
take care
Yeah.
of everything for me.
Say what now?
Take care of everything for me.
What do you want me to take care of?
Comments. Comments.
Mm.
I don't know how
Well,
you.
while I just want to acknowledge something as well, Miss Juicy and
There
Josh,
we go.
Thank you.
yeah, y'all both have been instrumental in this process. You all have been supporting from day one. You all have been using your platforms, your voices, your dollars, and all of that. So we just also want to thank Miss Juicy and Josh for everything y'all do and standing in solidarity with this fight. I know that there's also so many people who are joining us right now, and I just want to make a shout out to Brother Dante Carter with Carter Media Group and Fulton County Democrats, as well as Britt J with Justice for Georgia, because them two, and along with Crystal in the city, it was really, us five who came together and just started having this idea. And here we are now, 15 days, 14 days later, continuing to push against voter suppression. And y'all, pressure is working. Protests are working. It is making a difference. And right now, we're seeing that in real time. Coca-Cola and UPS just came out standing against some of these voter suppression bills because of the people of Georgia, because of the people fighting, because of the people raising their voices. So everybody who's using their voice is making a difference in real time. So I just want to say much respect to everybody out there, including our sister and brothers on this call right now. And I'll throw it over to you, Brother Griggs.
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for using your platform, Josh. Man, I appreciate you, Miss Juicy. We love you. But we've been out there for 14 straight days fighting against House Bill 531 and Senate Bill 241 and the push to roll back rights. You guys have been out there, and it means a lot to see so many other groups join us. Justice for Georgia, New Georgia Project, Fair Fight, the Fulton Democrats, and so many others that have joined in this fight. And we
Hmm.
saw today with the die-in, Coca-Cola, as well as who else was it that joined and said that they would stand in solidarity and push back against these repressive voter suppression
UPS
bills.
or or excuse me, it was Home Depot
It
and
was, I'm sorry, Home
Coca-Cola.
Depot and Coca-Cola.
Yeah, we
That
need
came out.
UPS next. We need
Yeah,
UPS next.
Okay.
UPS and Delta is next. And so it's important that we use our platforms to continue to give voice to the 7 million Georgia voters who are registered to vote, the 5 million who voted in the last two elections, and make sure that we protect our right to access to the franchise. So it's important that we continue to give voice to that. You guys have been great champions in helping us do that.
And there's so many groups, obviously, who are doing this. There's not one group, there's not one person. You know, I think all of us would be remiss in tying it all to one person or one group. But to shout out a few, today's die-in, as Brother Griggs mentioned, you know, was organized by New Georgia Project, but it was very much a collective effort of all of us coming together. Yesterday and Saturday was organized by Black Voters Matter, and same kind of energy, people coming together. And then the last, you know, 2 weeks, of course, organized with our coalition called Protect the Vote GA, which is made up of more than 40 leaders and organizations, including our brothers and sisters on this call. So this really is a collective effort that is creating these victories.
Yeah.
No, that's truly amazing. What where are they at as far as making a final decision on
Okay.
both of those bills?
Well, both bills have passed over into the other houses. So Senate Bill 241 is now in the House, and House Bill 531 is now in the Senate. And they have to pass those houses and then go back to the House they came out of, pass one more time if there are any amendments, and then it would go to the governor's desk. And so we are putting pressure on both houses to not pass those bills. But if they ultimately do pass the bills, to put pressure on the governor not to sign those bills, because again, it would be a step back in Georgia voting rights. And of course, we all know Georgia stood up for the entire country, both in the presidential election and in the Senate runoff races, and gave us the two new senators and gave us control of the Senate, and we already had the House. And so it gave us the stimulus checks, which everyone is so great and grateful to be getting, at $1,400. But we have to stand up for Georgia now and push back on these. So people that are in the state of Georgia, you need to contact your state senator, your state representatives. Those who are outside of Georgia, please help amplify this message by sharing it on your social media, by getting engaged on our pages, on other people's pages like Black Voters Matter and New Georgia Project and Fair Fight, and of course promote positivity and justice for Georgia and the Georgia NAACP and Atlanta NAACP to help us amplify this call, because this is a statewide issue that has national implications, because there are 29 other states that are trying to push these regressive voter suppression bills, and Georgia just happens to be the test run that's going first.
Got
Yeah.
you.
Well,
Got you.
let
So
me put it out for the people that, because we do have people that's on the call that might not even know what voter suppression is,
Okay.
believe it or not. So, I mean, just to let people know that voter suppression is a strategy. It's a strategy used to influence, you know, the outcome of the election for certain type of people, preventing specific groups from voting to be heard. So the reason why we're trying to make sure that these bills are not passed is so nobody else can control our own rights. And
Yep.
so I just want to make sure that we put that out there, because voter suppression is a strategy used to influence the outcome of the election. They've been influenced the outcome of the election so many years prior to us. So it's time for us to stick together and to stop, to stop them from controlling our votes. So that's
Period.
the reason why it's very important that we educate those people out there and that we continue to fight and we stick together, because that's the way these changes can be made. That's the
Period.
reason why Georgia turned blue.
Yep.
Because we stuck together. So if we can stick together for that, we got to continue to stick together for everything else. That's the reason why, Hannah, it's very important for you to continue to fight what you're doing, and Attorney Griggs, you also to continue the fight and to continue to educate us.
Yes.
And
And
on that same note, for those who don't know, over the last 20 years, states have put up barriers in front of the ballot box,
Mm-hmm.
like imposing stricter voting ID laws, cutting voting times, restricting registration, purging voter rolls. These efforts, which received a boost from the Supreme Court, which weakened the Voting Rights Act of 2013 by the Shelby v. Holder decision, which gutted the Voting Rights Act. So when we start talking about you know, the Voting Rights Act of 1964 and 1965 that Dr. King and John Lewis were fighting for. They have gutted the Voting Rights Act, and now they're implementing these new modern day tactics to suppress the vote, like voter ID laws, cutting voting times, cutting weekend voting, restricting registration, and purging the voter rolls, which is what we see is happening in Georgia.
And
That's what's
we,
going on right now.
yeah. Yep. And we saw that, all of us were working hard around the election season to make sure our communities were showing up to vote. We showed up in record numbers, and there are lawmakers who are upset about that. There are Georgians who are mad about that. And they want to, Ms. Juicy's point, they want to gain control over how the elections turn out next year in 2022 and beyond. So now they're trying to pass these bills, HB 531, which is House Bill 531, and SB 241, which is Senate Bill 241, which are going to create measures that would make it harder for Georgians to vote. So just to kind of break it down a little bit further, and a lot of this stuff we're all learning as we go. I'm definitely not a lawyer or an attorney, or I didn't study this stuff. I know Brother Griggs, he did, but even so, like we can all get a grasp of this because it is right in our reach, right? We don't have to be lawyers to understand this. And we do have lawyers who will help break it down for us. But I guess just to kind of summarize it, House Bill 531 is a very dangerous bill. What it is trying to do is eliminate Sunday voting. It wants to reduce the time frame in early voting periods. So you know how some people go and vote after they get off of work at 5 p.m. and they try to vote at 6 or 6:30. Well, they're trying to cut those hours down to 5 p.m., knowing good and well that people go to the polls after they get off their shifts, right? And then another thing it has is they don't want people serving water or doing pizza at the polls or serving snacks to people that are waiting in these long lines in Georgia. We know good and well these lines are long. So they're trying to create, basically banning that, and that's called line warming. So that's just a little bit of 531. SB 241 would make it really hard for people to request an absentee ballot or a vote by mail ballot, almost impossible. And let's be real, we're still in the middle of a pandemic. People are still experiencing a pandemic. We need to be able to access absentee ballots at all times. If people don't want to go to the polls because they feel like it's threatening to their lives, they should be able to do that. And these Republican lawmakers are trying to prevent people from having easy access to applying for these ballots. So
So
that's just a
I
little
have
bit.
that's amazing information from everybody. So, Hannah or Attorney Griggs, for those people who are just tuning in and have no idea what's going on, what could be some things that they could do to help in the efforts, right? So if they're not able to come out, obviously stand with you all, protest or things like that. What are some other good things that the people can do, and it's not just for people of Georgia, but like how you mentioned earlier, other states as well, because they're trying to do this in other parts of the country.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, go to the new website, protectthevotegA.com. It has resources on there, how you can get connected, whether you're in Georgia or you're outside of Georgia. But then
.org.
.org, I'm sorry, .org. But secondarily to that, just understand that there is a concerted effort to diminish access to the ballot. So you need to get in touch with your local elected officials on the state level. So that's your state senators and your state representatives, and let them know that you want more access to the ballot and not less. We don't need to cut out drop boxes. We don't need to cut out line warming. We don't need to make voting more restrictive. Voting is restrictive enough. We need to have every eligible voter have access to be able to vote. That way you have a representative democracy. So if you're interested in this, one of the things everyone around the country can do is to contact their federal senators and their federal House of representatives and tell them to vote yes on two bills, HR 1, which is the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, and HR 4, which would be a comprehensive Voting Rights Act, something we haven't had since 1964, 1965, to re-empower the Voting Rights Act. That way we don't have to deal with each state individual. We can have a federal regulation that regulates voting and then makes voting rights expansive to all Americans that are eligible to vote. So those are a few things that you can do. Make sure you contact your elected official. Make sure you amplify this on all of your social platforms that we need to make voting easier for more people.
And just to add to that, on our new website, which is called protectthevotega.org, and it is literally a coalition, a volunteer-led coalition fighting voter suppression. There are actionable items on there, so you can click on the tabs, and it'll have easy formats where you can email lawmakers. Crystal in the city has a great tool. Civic Georgia has a great tool. And there's just other great, easy tools out there as well that are just outlined. So you could just click the link and send an email. And not just to your lawmakers, but also Republican lawmakers who are trying to push these bills. We need to be emailing them as well, even if they're not your lawmaker, because they'll still get your email, they'll still get your calls, and they'll still feel the pressure. And then also sending messages to the corporations, right? Like we saw what happened in the last few days. Groups have been coming together to put pressure on all these corporations, and now Coca-Cola and Home Depot have both come out and spoken out. So keep applying that pressure, keep making those calls. And it can be a lot, let's be real. There's just a lot going on, but even taking one step, one email, one call makes a difference. So always remember that. And everybody doesn't have to be out in the streets. We don't expect everyone to be out. Everyone plays their own role in some shape or form. And just like Josh and Miss Juicy, you know, they use their platforms constantly. We all do, to elevate the cause and elevate the mission. So use your social media and use these hashtags. Hashtag protect the vote GA, hashtag HB 531, and hashtag SB 241. And that will go a long way as well.
Definitely.
Right. And just real quick, so people have an understanding, if they are able to get their way, right, with the bills that they're trying to pass, what does that look like for us moving forward, right? Obviously, we know about the vote, but what do you see as being the bigger picture of what they're trying to do, if you could take a guess?
I would like to add to that. I know Brother Griggs got some things to say too, but the fight continues, and we're gonna be ready to show up and show out. Just like Sister Wanda said from Black Voters Matter over the weekend, you know, she said, y'all want to pass some of these measures. Well, guess what? We're going to be putting copy machines and printing machines in every single Black-owned business on the block, in the barbershops, in the restaurants, in the hair salons, everything, to make sure that people have access to the tools they need to comply with these new measures they're trying to pass. So if y'all want to require that people provide copies of their ID to request an absentee ballot, then provide another copy of their ID to submit your absentee ballot, well, we're going to be on it. We're going to make sure that community members are out there helping people, and including senior citizens, right? That's a lot of work. Let's be real. That's really inconvenient, and you're making this a difficult task, and not everyone has access to these resources, but we're going to have to step up our game and be out there just like we have been in the last several months with the runoff election and the general election. So that means we keep pushing. That means we keep winning, and that means we keep fighting, because victory will be ours.
Exactly right. And that means that we have to organize that much harder. That means that we're going to have conversations with more groups to let them know these new restrictive voting laws are coming. If we can't line warm, that means we'll have to donate directly to voters to provide the necessities for standing in these long lines. That means we're going, instead of having, you know, souls to the polls on Sunday, we might have to move it to Saturday, or we might have to have another initiative. We come up with another name. You know, Black people and people that are minorities are very ingenious in how they can come up with learning what the rules are and then applying the rules fairly. So, I mean, it'll be a little bit harder, you know, especially for our older voters, because again, no excuse absentee voting will be eliminated if these bills are passed. So that means anybody over the age of 55 that doesn't have a valid medical excuse is not going to be able to vote absentee. So we got to get them ready to stand in them long lines. Maybe we have to go to Dick's or some other sporting good place and buy a whole bunch of you know, folding chairs and drop them off at the church and let the church give them out to their members before they go to the polls, since we can't give them food and water and everything else. We have to have goodie bags at the church, and they take it from the church to the polling precinct. We have to think outside the box, but we won't be defeated even if they pass this law. We're going to figure out ingenious ways to make sure we are applying the law correctly, but we're also getting to the result of having more and more people vote. And one of the things that the Republicans are not thinking about is when you start to try to limit access to the ballot, that's when people want it even more. So that's going to motivate even more people to go out and vote, because now you're trying to take it away and you're making it quite clear that you're doing that. So I just think we have to be, you know, more steadfast and more immovable, and realizing what our ancestors have said. John Lewis said, The access to the ballot is the most powerful nonviolent weapon that we have. So we have to continue to use it. We did it in November, we did it in January, and we see the results. You got the stimulus check, $1,400. We all wanted that. We wanted COVID relief. Now we're talking about infrastructure, and now we're talking about more comprehensive voting rights, and of course the George Floyd Police Reform Act. And so we got to get out and vote if we want to continue to get these things that we voted for, more progressive policy. So we just got to think outside the box. It's just going to be a little bit more difficult, but we will figure out a way to get around it.
Right. No, that's truly amazing. I know both of y'all are super busy, and I appreciate you taking the time. Attorney Griggs, is there anything you would like to leave the people with before you get back to your grind?
Just remember that protest works. When you amplify your voice and you get in the way and you call out what's wrong, at first it may seem a little difficult, but then as you continue to push, you start seeing change happen in real time. And we've had some phenomenal wins over the last 14 days. Man, everybody was like, oh, this bill is going to pass. There's nothing you can do about it. Now the bill may be stalling in committee. We have corporations coming out against the bill. We have elected officials on the other side of the aisle now saying this is a bad idea and it's bad for business in Georgia. If we continue to apply the pressure, we will be successful. So I'm hopeful and I'm energized, but seeing what happened today, 2 hours after a peaceful nonviolent sit-in, die-in that we haven't seen the likes of in a couple of years, is just phenomenal. So I want people to remember, you have the power. Use your voice. Make sure your voice is heard. We have these wonderful platforms through social media. We can share this information. I know we all want to share other stuff and talk about all this other stuff that's going on, but this is the most consequential thing that's happening right now. You know, we all saw the Grammys last night. We all saw what happened to Rayshard Brooks. That's his name. Say his name. The person that was killed at the Wendy's. His name is Rayshard Brooks. We all saw that. But how are we going to make the changes that's going to give justice to Rayshard's family or give justice to Breonna Taylor's family? We got to make sure we exercise our power at the ballot box to elect DAs and to elect judges that will make the right decision and to elect mayors that will get rid of bad police chiefs that continue to empower bad officers to kill people that's unjust and extrajudicial. It's important. If they would take your vote, it makes it easier for them to take your life. So we have to make sure we are alert and push back. And when we push back, we can and will win.
And to your point, Hannah, before you go, and I'm glad you touched on that. I want the people to understand it's not just good enough to give us money after you've done us wrong. And I feel that that's another narrative that's going on, is they're paying millions and millions of dollars to these families, but that's only putting a Band-Aid on it. You know, we still want to see justice. We still want to see those people who did those acts, the wrong, not serving the community in the right way. They still need to go to jail. They still need to, you know what I mean? Like all of those people, there's so many names, and it's just like the city will just throw some money at it. And it's like, for the most part, it just goes away. And we need to continue to apply that pressure, because it's not okay. Money doesn't solve everything. It's not going to bring their life back. We got sons missing, fathers missing, uncles missing, husbands missing, and it's an unfortunate situation. So I'm glad you touched on that, Attorney Griggs, because that's a real important thing. And Hannah, is there anything you want to leave us with before you get off?
Absolutely. Definitely, there's so many names like you mentioned, and I have a bracelet here: justice for Jamarian Robinson, and justice for all of the victims, justice for Breonna Taylor, who is right behind you, and all of the victims in Georgia and across the nation and across the world. Voting impacts the way police culture moves in this country. It does impact police brutality. It does impact oppression in this nation. It does impact so much. And so we have to recognize that voting plays a role in every aspect of our life, and not just locally, not just nationally, but as y'all know, I'm Ethiopian and Eritrean. And right now there is a humanitarian crisis happening in the northern region of Ethiopia called Tigray. And in addition to that, the new administration that has come into power with President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris and their team, they have been taking measures to speak out against some of the humanitarian crisis violations and things of that nature. And so we have to recognize that the people we put in power can either do something or not do something about it. And so all these issues that are affecting our brothers and sisters, and not just in the northern region of Tigray in Ethiopia, but in other regions in Ethiopia as well, in Amhara and Oromo, across Africa, across the world. There's so many challenges happening, and voting impacts foreign policy. Voting impacts international relationships. Voting impacts our stake in the game as it comes to these issues and situations that are happening abroad, just like they do down the street from our home. So, you know, Black Lives Matter here and Black Lives Matter all over the world. And so I hope we recognize that the people we're voting for make a lot of decisions on our behalf. And that's why we're working so hard to protect the vote, because whether it's criminal justice reform, whether it's education, healthcare, or whether it's, you know, any form of issue that is affecting our communities, voting plays a role. And every single one of you watching tonight, every single person who will watch this, know that your act will make a difference. Every person who has come out to the protest, every member who's a part of the Protect the Vote GA coalition, we salute y'all. We are so grateful to be marching in this fight together, because this is a team. This is a team effort. There is not, I'm gonna keep saying this, there's not one group, there's not one individual. It's a movement, and it's a group of leaders and people and groups making this happen. And we're gonna continue making this happen together. And I'm so thankful to be a part of this community. And I'm so inspired every single day by every person who does their part in this fight, because it is making a difference. And we saw it happen today. Less than 2 hours after that protest, we saw Coca-Cola and Home Depot come out against these bills.
Yep.
So know that your voice has power, know that your actions have power, and know that we will continue making a difference together. And I just want to thank again the three of you all, Brother Josh, Brother Griggs, and Sister Juicy. Like, y'all are family, and I'm so thankful to be in this with you three and every single person who's a part of this, because we will continue winning together.
Absolutely, Queen. Miss Juicy, what you got for us?
Just to piggyback off of Attorney Grid and Sister Hannah, it's so important. If we don't fight for our rights to vote or anything, our rights, period, they are going to make the decision for us. And that's not what we want. That's not who we are. So it's very important that we use our platform. It's very important that we use our voices. It's very important that we use the rights that we have to take a stand, to stick together. They are paying attention. It might not seem like it at times, but if we stick together, numbers matters, y'all. Numbers matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important, because we don't have a right to even complain about something if we don't take advantage of the rights that we have. So if you're okay with somebody making a decision for you, then you go do what you do. Mm-hmm. On this end, hey, we need to stick together, mm-hmm, so we can have a voice. Our voice can be heard.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Attorney Griggs, Queen Hannah, salute to both of y'all, man. I love y'all. I'm proud of y'all. A great representation of Georgia, a great representation of Black people, beautiful people. You know, I'm just grateful for both of you all in the fight that you both continue to do, how you continue to educate us. You continue to motivate us, and inspiration. You know, I know for me, Attorney Griggs, I'm watching you, my brother, from afar or even up close. You inspire me. Same thing with you, Hannah. I watch you from afar. I watch you up close. You inspire me. Please continue doing the things that y'all are doing. I promise you, I feel both of you, feel both of your ancestor spirits on you each and every day, that y'all are waking up and blessing us with your presence. Thank you, Attorney Griggs, please. And I told Hannah the same thing. I want to try to make it where, you know, you tell me what you want to do, brother, but I feel like at least twice a month, every 2 weeks, we come on here, we educate, we update people. That way it just keeps everybody going so they know what's going on. You know what I mean? Not only just for Georgia, but like you said, to get this message out to a lot of people.
Yes.
And we all have followers everywhere. So it's just really important to continue to hit that message and drive it home. And I love how, you know, again, both of you educate us. You let us know what to look for, where to find it at. All of those things are very important in this fight, man. And I hope people are inspired. I hope that they are motivated to do their part, you know, in this whole thing. And again, it doesn't stop. Like this is a
Right.
continuous fight, you know, and it's not just for these bills. It's going to be for the next bills and the next situation and whatever else is going on. And we got to stay the course. You know, we got to continue to apply that pressure that you both talked about. So again, thank you so much. I'm going to keep throwing y'all them roses. Love y'all,
Thank
beautiful people.
you.
Keep
We
doing
love you
what you're doing, man.
too.
Appreciate
Appreciate
We
you.
y'all.
love you too. We
Yep,
appreciate
Appreciate you.
both of
absolutely.
y'all. Thank you
All right,
both.
y'all.
Thank you all.
Peace.
All
Bye,
right,
everybody.
later. There we go. There we go. All right, good people. Man, appreciate. There we go. All right, appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. That was very important, much needed. Hope everybody got something out of it. Don't forget to make sure you go online. You know, look up the information. Make sure you sharing it. Make sure you passing it on. So we continue this great fight, man. We can't allow these folks to suppress our vote. It's so important. Continue to master gas. Thank y'all again, man. Much love to everybody. Y'all have a good one. All right.